So guys, at the moment what we're now doing is we are putting battens up on the wall of the van so that we have something to screw into when we put our walls up properly. Gareth has cut the wood, the little battens that I discussed earlier, and he's measured them to a perfect size so that they wedge really tight in here, but we want them to because we want them to stay in. So if I show you what we're doing, we're putting them either side of this panel here, along the side of the wall here. So I'm just going to wedge this in, probably easier to do at the top first, do it at an angle, and then you've got to kind of wedge it in as far up to the edge of that panel there as you can. You can see how solid that is already without the extra reinforcements as it is. There we go. How's that looking? Looking good?
It's good.
Now it's going to be at an angle because obviously you're going with the shape of the van. So don't expect these to all be aligned here because they're not going to be. You're going to have a natural curvature of the van walls anyway, which is completely fine because that's what a van is like. So I'm just going to put the others in now. In there. This is when this one doesn't fit, isn't it? Oh, Christ.
If you need a hammer, there is one just down there as well, just to tap it over.
Yeah, oh, much easier. That's in there, okay. There we go. I mean, look how solid that is already. Solid. You'd think that was like fixed. It's actually quite straightforward, this actually. Now, bear in mind, you're obviously not going to see all this, so don't get all perfect about it all being 100% straight or looking amazing, because this is just for structure and reinforcement purposes. Look at me being all serious this time round. Wow, where's the crazy Megan? There she is. Okay, so, wow, don't do anything silly, Megan. Okay, so as I discussed, this is what we're doing on this side. So at the moment we've wedged all these in, as I've just shown you, and we are now going to attach this piece of wood. We haven't done it too big because obviously we've got this wire bit here in a way, so I've done it so it just sits against there, but as you can see it's flush against this one here. Now we're going to screw this into these using wood screws, which are these, okay, and these are just going to go directly through there into there. Now to attach it to the metal we are using, let me try and find, we're using tech screws, which are these. They're really good at going through metal, so they're going to go through the metal bit here of the van into the wood. Luckily it just so happens that this is just the right thickness and it's almost very flush against the metal there, so you've got a nice smooth finish there. And for the top one as well, we're also attaching one of these to the top here along there, and that's going to be attached to the timber, so wood screws through there. That's not going to be screwed into the metal, that's because this is enough reinforcement to keep it all in place. This is just going to attach to the timber. Now we were going to put extra battens like this length here so that it's flush against here, so it doesn't go in and out. We're going to do that to the other side. However, this is going to be storage space, this is going to be cupboards, so it's not really needed. Yeah, it's not much, but it means we get an extra inch space of storage for the cupboard. So we thought, okay, we won't put battens there. No point. This is all going to be covered. This is where we're going to put stuff. So last night we were talking about how we're putting the battens on to make that nice and flat and aligned. So he's put these ones on now, so you can see you've got two there, and it's all flat there. So that's good for putting the ply on now. So it's a good surface to work on. So obviously we need to finish off doing this side here. outside. Look as she looks for us. Hunting. Watching. So we've been doing those discussions, because obviously as you're doing this you've got to think about what's going in the van. So which bit's going to be exposed, which bit's going to be covered because of storage cupboards, where's the bed going to go. So we were going to use cladding for the wall interior, just that's the look we wanted to go for. But actually the only wall in this van that's going to be exposed is this bit here. So this is the only bit where we're actually going to have the cladding, because the other wall space that we've got is all going to be cupboards. So there's no point putting cladding on it because it's all going to be cupboards, everything. Because this is going to obviously be like the cooking area here, that's going to be storage within itself. Cupboards above. Bed's going to be obviously here. We're going to have cupboards this side coming out over the bed slightly. So yeah, the only bit is, so in a way it makes it cheaper for us. But it just means that bit's done. So we need to finish off the rest of this, so put more battens along here.
Okay, so to just bring you totally up to speed, we've fitted our new window now, which is really cool. So it's like a sausage shaped window, and now that what we've done is we've started putting all the insulation back, so we've had to cut out this part here of the insulation, and then what we've done is like reinstalled the insulation at the bottom and then like insulation up the side, and then we've put like the battening in as well, like we did on the other side. So we've basically put timbers in at the bottom running up, and then you can see a timber at the top there as well. So these are just all pickup points for when we put the ply on. And the reason why we're using ply is because we're going to put like the bed timbers coming across here into the slots, and that's going to like really maximize our space, which will make sense a little bit more when we actually come round to it. So we've used sort of these self-tapping screws in order to attach it to the metalwork, and then basically just done like a 300mm centers as you make your way along, and then you can see a pickup at the end there. That's shorter because this part of the panel actually bellows out, so what we've had to do is make this nice and short, just so there's a nice pickup just at the side there, and then we'll have to you know, make some sort of join that comes in there so it makes a nice neat finish. Decided to actually put the battens the way that we have here, so they're actually protruding out away from the insulation here, is so that when we put the vapour barrier up against the timber, it's also going to be away from the metalwork and also the insulation, but also it's the straightest point. But this actually allows us a pocket in here in the actual vapour barrier itself. So when it actually comes to installing the bed, we're going to put some timbers inside of a ply sheet that we're going to put across here, so just to save having to put loads of legs and lose space in the garage. So we're going to have timbers coming across the van inside the pockets, and we're going to insert them in and then put some noggins in between, which is going to secure it into place. And that's why we've actually created this gap, but also it's the natural fall that's created that, rather than having a really bulbous wall.
Vapour Barrier that we used around the edge of the van when we first sealed in the foil on the flooring. So if you remember when we used the foil tape to stick the flooring down, so we foiled the flooring before we put the wood on, well, we used a bit of this for the edge in here. Now the whole van is actually going to be covered in this Vapour Barrier. Okay, so what we've got, obviously we've got some excess left from before, but obviously that's not going to cover the whole van. So we've got this big beast here, and we've got 25 metres here, and look how much is there. So it actually worked out cheaper from Amazon, by the way, to get this. So this is really useful stuff. We're going to cover the whole inside of the van with this, okay? So all of the walls, everything. The reason being, first function of it is it reflects heat. So when you've got heat come from outside, such as in the summer, it will bounce off the foil. Vice versa, when you're inside, heat inside is going to stay inside. So it works as a really good insulator all round at repelling heat, keeping heat in. It's also a vapour barrier, so it will stop the condensation from our breath inside the van from touching the cold metal and causing damp within the walls of the van. Now what this actually is, all it is essentially it's bubble wrap covered in foil. So you've got aluminium foil either side of bubble wrap. So if you have a look at it, so it's very light. You know, it looks like we're putting a lot of layers in our van right now. You're probably all thinking, God, your van's going to be really heavy. It isn't. The wood, the timber we've used is really light. The foil is really light. Everything we use, it looks like a lot of bulkiness going on, but it's not actually that heavy. So we're not, and actually, we don't need to talk about the wood anyway, but the wood is lighter than metal and it's still strong. So that's what we're doing with this. So I'm going to be using a combination of aluminium foil tape and a staple gun to attach this to the side of the van. And we'll see how it goes. And that is that.
2.4 metres. So you imagine 2.4 metres cut in half, so it's going to cover that and that.
Yeah.
And then you're going to have this lower section. That's approximately 1.4 to there. So as soon as it starts adding up, so we are back from our Christmas break and our little trip up to Scotland for a week, and it was absolutely fantastic. It really was. That's the camera just gone. Let's try again. So yeah, we had a trip up to Scotland. It was absolutely amazing, and then we ended up sleeping on the floor of the van just to kind of give it a bit of a test out, and it was absolutely fantastic. It really was, being in the van. But it would have been nice to actually had a bed. A bit faffy with all the kit going around everywhere, but it's given us ideas of how to actually manage the van itself when it comes around to it. So that's been really beneficial. So we really want to push along the van now and start moving things forward and progressing. So I'm looking at the ceiling, and in particular the lighting, and also doing a bit of preparation work, because I really want to get the Vapour Barrier on the ceiling, close it all in, and also doing a bit of preparation work for when it actually comes to doing the cladding on the roof. So they're the sort of things really we're going to be looking at. Okay, so I'm just doing a little bit of prep work. So I've just cut a rip of ply which stems across one side of the van to the other. Notice on this one I've actually put some little caps on the end, just to join on from this ply here, because I didn't have this thickness. So what I decided to do is actually, it worked out really well to actually just put a little extension on, and then same for the other side. So I put some like grab adhesive underneath here, and then just screwed up into the actual metal strut that's going across the van. So I'm going to do exactly the same for this side. So I'm going to chuck some grab adhesive on the back of there, and then screw up into the top. Alright, so this is the stuff I'm using. This is the stuff I actually use for the flooring to actually apply the ply down underneath the insulation.